Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Again, I was right. Why? Because I know how these guys are thinking. How do I know? I observe, memorize, see patterns, and whenever another situation similar with those patterns occurs, kind of like 95% of the times they will react the same way they reacted the other times. The same here. Do you remember, I said it many times, that when I said it, that these guys, NATO, European Union, will change the rules of the game in the middle of the game. Why? Because they're losing. It's something that they don't like. So they're all for the rule-based world order and all that until something is not on their liking, and when that happens they change the rule. I don't know, maybe you played with these sour losers, I don't know, a board game, and all of a sudden, or maybe team games like football, soccer, basketball, and you have a guy who wants to win. We all want to win, but if you lose, you don't like it, but it's a game. You play to have fun, not to get angry, and then this sour loser tries to make rules. Changes the rules on a particular situation that will apply only for him or for her at that point. And when if he's allowed, if he gets away with that, if a similar circumstance will occur, and someone else could take advantage of the rule just made by that guy will yell the loudest, no, that's unfair. But he or she benefited of the newly made rule a minute ago. Why? And that's it, because they're not fair. This is what happens right now with Ukraine, and I could stick in the equation Sweden as well. NATO membership for both countries. I said that I said it many times, even if Hungary and Turkey do not vote for Sweden to become a member of NATO, the Americans will either change the rules, like I just explained, or they will create some different definition, different policy will add it, that Sweden will be part of NATO, but not part of NATO. So it's going to be de facto and some signature, but not, let's say, Article 5. It's like I'm not going to call Article 5, I will call it Tsupukapa. And Tsupukapa will be implemented if Sweden is attacked. We will all attack. Not Article 5, Tsupukapa. Okay? This is what they try to do now. With the European Union, the same. Ukraine has no chance of being part of the European Union the way it is, because there are requirements, there are laws, there are policies, there are protocols. They do not checkmark them at all. And you have to checkmark them all. But they will try to bend the rules. Remember, I told you many times, in any institution, in any business, there are rules and policies. And we are supposed to follow all those. If we don't, then you're right up or whatever happens to you. Now, if the boss comes in and says, no, we do a little thing here, no, I say no, they will not respect the policy because he can. He has this, ability to come over and say, no, this rule will not be applied right here. I'm going to give it a waiver because I can, and that's it. Who's going to challenge the director, the boss, the owner? Nobody. Who's going to challenge, do you think, the U.S.? It's at his discretion. That's why they say. Remember, if a law enforcement officer stops you and talks to you, oh my God, you broke the speed limit, you blah, 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 blah. It is at his discretion to give you a warning or give you a ticket. So he can do that. Why? Because he's in charge. According to a lot of things that he has to take into consideration. If you saw a pattern, if you're drunk, if you are, angry a little bit and so on. So the same here. The United States now tells us that actually there's going to do a little reform in NATO, which will allow certain countries to be part of NATO without checkmarking all the boxes. Remember, every other country that became a NATO member had to do all that and be humiliated, I say, by a certain country. Oh, you have to do that. No, until you change that, you can't be. Oh, no. Now, this guy comes and say, you know what? off. We're gonna change the rules because I can. Alright, my discretion. And who the hell are you? I'm the owner of NATO. I'm the owner of the European Union. If you don't believe me, see how independent the foreign policy of European Union is. Or tell me how many troops European Union has in the United States of America and how many US troops are in Europe to defend the eastern flank of the NATO alliance. Let me take my violin. Let me play you some Paganini and some Capricci here. Right, let's go and see this weasel. So, Sputnik, 5 hours ago, which makes it June 16th, 2023. Biden open to lifting reform requirements for Ukraine's NATO membership reports. So, in order for Ukraine or any country to be accepted to become a NATO member, it has to implement certain reforms. I remember when Romania was humiliated. Yes, I have a really sour taste in my mouth because of that. Because Romanians were humiliated with the reforms, and these guys are going to be waived, and these guys are even worse than the Romanians were then. So I don't think that's fair. Hey, but who says life is fair? Yeah, I remember children say that life is fair, or people who are very much idealistic. And being idealistic means you're not realistic. Not being realistic, that means you don't know what's going on, but it's like make-believe. But it's good to have, dreamers here and there. So, US President Joe Biden has backed exempting Ukraine from fulfilling a Membership Action Plan, MAP, which is a package of NATO-prescribed reforms. Prospective candidates are required to carry out, but is not enough by itself to gain membership, media reported, citing two unnamed US officials. So they are going to waive the discretion of one person. He just says, well, is that the word they used? He's open. That means you got to do it, otherwise I'm going to smack you. Not him, the guy's behind him. Biden is, quote-unquote, open to removing the MAP requirements for Ukraine, which means member states would be able to greenlight its accession to the military alliance at any time. The officials were cited as saying, yeah, but you can't because Ukraine is at war with another country. I know that's one of the biggest requirements. You can't be at war and have problems with the neighbor countries, because that means you can get involved with them in a scuffle and they would trigger Article 5. You can't do that unless they want to do it, and I think they want to do it. So, I'm quoting, the alliance would need to go along with it. One of the officials were quoted as, will need. Need? You need to eat, you need to sleep, you need shelter, you need water, this kind of you need. Loving from time to time, this is what you need. Anything else is a want. But hey, they would need to. That means we're gonna smack them around. So I don't think this is a good example, because this is like you have a parent who gives a preferential treatment to one of the children and a different one to another child. That child will see it, or will find out eventually, and will blame you. It's gonna build resentment, and it's gonna put a pillow over your head when you're too cold, if you know what I mean. So the same here. By doing this, by allowing this country to avoid requirements that everybody else was supposed to, and they did, fulfill, is not fair. And it's the same thing as, for instance, for some immigrants who, followed the procedure to, the law and to immigrate and all that. They are asked or required to accept other people cutting the line, crossing just a little river down south, and then starting their process. Well, for some of us, that is very unfair, and we don't like that a bit. And who do we look at? The government. Why? Because it doesn't implement its own policies and laws, or it imposes it's enforcing them preferential. And when you do preferential things, there's no justice in there. So let's go back to this article. Member states can equally veto Ukraine's accession. That's going to go away. I guarantee you that it's going to go away, which means it's going to be reserved only to the US, maybe, and 2 more states, important states. The rest can suck the, popsicle, which means that the removal of the map is not itself a guarantee of imminent membership, and the country would likely still need to carry out some pro-democracy changes, the newspaper noted. No, remember what happened to Hungary? Remember, Hungary did not ratify Sweden's, membership bid to NATO. What did that senator from Idaho do? He said, we're not going to give you HIMARS, weapons, my dear Hungarians, until you allow those guys to be part of NATO. Is that a blackmail? How do you consider that? Then the Hungarians came and said, we don't even need that because that was dead last year when we asked you, and you were like, so it fell out. So this is just a guy who just shows off the Idaho Republican, I think he is. I don't even care, but it doesn't matter. So, but to show you how these guys operate, you are independent, you're sovereign, you're part of NATO, you're part of the European Union, here are the regulations, there are the policies, there are procedures, but if I want something, you gotta do it. I don't care how. You gotta do it. We're gonna bend all the rules, my discretion, will do my threats, my blackmail, all that would work. And they're upset when it doesn't work. Now that's a sour loser, yes, loser. And is losing? Yes, is losing. They want something and they can't have it. So they throw a tantrum and they try to change the game, the rules only for that person at that particular time. What should you do? Get the board game out and say, off, done. And you know who's going to be blamed? You, not the weasel. It happened to me. Not you screwed up the game, not that guy who was about to implement his. Everybody was agreed. Oh yeah. They were not confrontational. They didn't want to confront this guy. So they didn't want to fight him. I did. I said, wait a minute, justice is more important than that. If we don't push back on this guy, next time he's going to ask for more. We're having fun here, or we have, okay, because of that guy. Well, they blamed me for doing this because I didn't accept that guy's bad behavior. Everybody was like, oh my God, what are you doing? Are you crazy? No, you're weasels, you're pussies, and that guy is okay, that's it. Well, you want to play with me some board games? Well, I don't want to play with those guys, or at least the rules are the rules. All right, my God. So anyway, democracy changes, and I'm quoting, we are engaging with our NATO allies, no such a thing. It's temporary, how to put it, gang to profit out of, robbing someone for this moment, at this moment. And tomorrow it might be you, one of our now allies, so-called, that we need something from you, and we're gonna gang against you. And the big boss is gonna take obviously the lion's share, and it's gonna give you some crumbs. And the next one I'm gonna need from you, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna, hey guys, let's get him. Fuck, we get him. Hey, this is my right here. You can have this, you can have this, you can have this, and you can have that, and all that. That's the way it works. Don't think so? Look who benefits out of this. Wasn't there a coalition in Iraq to bring democracy and freedom? Who reconstructed it? Have you heard about, I don't know, France doing something over there? Everything, or Germany, or other countries? No, it was just United States of America. Everything was mine. There were some troops from other countries as well, but they were crumbs. So, in the middle ground approach to determine whether it can gain consensus. Yeah, they will. We are seeking to find common ground on language that supports NATO's commitment to Ukraine's transatlantic integration. So they would change the whole rule of the whole alliance for one country. Remember the board game, that guy? Just for him right now, and that's it. The commitment. One of the officials was quoting as saying, if the US succeeds in getting allies on board with the plan, they will smack them around. The announcement of the map removal for Ukraine might be made at NATO's July summit in Lithuania, the report said. Ukraine applied for accelerated NATO membership in September 2022. In early June, Zelensky said that Kiev was hoping to receive a clear invitation to the bloc at NATO's 2023 top-level summit in Lithuanian capital Vilnius. He also said that Ukraine's military was disappointed that Kiev has not yet received a clear positive response about joining both the European Union and NATO. Hey, buddy, Zelensky Stein, you just got, how should I put it, you just graduated high school, and you ask the college to give you a diploma right now for something you didn't accomplish yet. This is what these guys want. They didn't pass the first year, second year, third year, fourth year of college, or 5 years of college, and then if you pass all those years with all the requirements, all your, credits, then you're gonna get a diploma. All right? That's how it works. No, they want a diploma now before they are. We are very disappointed. You can speed up something. Oh, you know what? In 1 year, I'm gonna graduate. You can't. You can't. There are rules. Yeah, you can get more classes in 1 year, but it's a limit. You can't. Well, I want it now, and I'm very upset and disappointed if you can't give me that. What is this? Well, you know what it is. So the same thing with former President Obama. He was given MOCA, zero, the Nobel Peace Prize. For what? For nothing. He didn't do anything. Before he even, I think, was sworn in, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. For me, that was the cherry on the cake with Nobel Peace Prize. It was like, that's going to be my forever example that Nobel Peace Prize, and not only, is garbage. Garbage. I mean, I know other writers who got Nobel Prize for literature. Read their garbage and then you assess. So anyway, my friends, here it is. Bend the rules, and at US discretion, everything is possible. I said it, and I was right again. And I know I was right. I knew I was right because I saw how these guys behaved before, over and over and over. They're not fair. They're not just. But hey, that's how life is. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The problem is they pretend that it's just and ask everybody else, not ask, require everybody else to obey the law and the rules and all that. But then when it's their turn or their wish, their interest, they take a shit on all that. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.